The day my entire family bailed on me, I caught someone on the street chatting about a deal. $1 million to buy your emotions and live like a regular person. Interested? I stepped forward. How about buying mine? I just need $800,000. With that $800,000 in my pocket, I headed home. My parents still looked at me with pure disgust. My brother laughed, asking why I hadn't checked out yet. The fake daughter came rushing over. Sis, if you've got any beef, take it out on me. Just please don't stress everyone so much anymore. I slapped her with a worried smile. Now? This was the third hour I'd been hustling for money from everywhere. On the phone, I kept explaining and begging over and over. I needed $800,000 for surgery. Just help me this once, okay? I can write you an IOU. Think of it as borrowing from the family. I'm begging you, if we wait any longer, I might really die. But all I heard was my parents' cold, impatient voices. Dad kept interrupting me, questioning me with doubt. Quit telling me these stories. Be honest. Have you been gambling? Don't deny it. Lily said she saw me hanging out with some shady folks. Mom's disappointment was clear. Wendy, I thought you were just less mature than Lily, but I didn't expect you to become a habitual liar. Mom's heart was shattered. In the background, I heard my brother shout irritably, Mom, what's the point of talking to someone as rotten as her? Bringing her out of the mountains was a waste of police effort. Better if she had died there. They really hated me, wishing I were dead, but it wasn't like that when I was little. Back then, Mom and Dad took me to amusement parks, told me bedtime stories, and said they loved me. My brother stood up for me when someone bullied me. You touch my sister and I'll fight you. Because I believed in their love during the years I was kidnapped, I held on to hope. When a girl kidnapped with me wanted to end it all out of pain, I held her hand, encouraging her repeatedly. Don't give up. Our families must be looking for us. We'll go home. It seemed like heaven really heard my prayers. At 10, the cops caught the traffickers, and all of us kidnapped girls were rescued and returned home. I thought from then on I'd live in a world full of love. Yet when I tearfully intended to jump into my parents' arms, I saw an awkward expression on their faces. Dad even stepped back. My brother just covered his nose. Didn't the maid wash her already? Why does it still smell? Hiding behind my brother was a girl about my age. She wore an expensive princess dress, her hair silky smooth, timidly looking at me. Seeing Mom about to hug me, the girl suddenly cried. Are you going to abandon me now that sister's back? Right away, the mom who was about to hug me let go. Turning around to embrace the girl, Lily cried, Don't cry. You are Mommy's daughter. Mommy could never abandon you. My brother glared at me with hostility. Lily is my sister. Nobody's taking her away from us. The floor-to-ceiling mirror in the living room displayed two figures, fair and beautiful, surrounded by everyone, Lily and me, hair dull and awkwardly standing on the outskirts. That was my first time meeting Lily, the girl my parents adopted in grief, who throughout these years took my place and gained all their love. From then on, every day was a new nightmare. Initially, my parents were hopeful I'd return home, but once I did, all they felt was unfamiliarity and disappointment. I was a mess of a child, falling behind in studies, always ranked at the bottom of exams. In English class, when called to answer, my accent would make the whole class laugh. If it was just that, I'd just be seen as dumb, but apparently my character was also terrible. Ever since I came home, Lily kept having accidents, getting sick with a fever the night before an exam, twisting her ankle falling from stairs saws before a ballet performance, discovering her concert attire torn before a piano show. Each time Lily would speak kindly, these are just accidents. It has nothing to do with my sister. The more she said this, the less anyone believed in my innocence. After Dad lectured me multiple times with those mishaps happening one after another, he shook his head to Mom. I'm done talking. This kid is a write-off. Mom hugged Lily, crying. My poor Lily did nothing wrong yet kept suffering. Lily would sensibly comfort everyone. It doesn't matter how much injustice I feel, as long as this gets better in the future. My brother would interrupt angrily. She'll never get better. Someone so hopeless should have just died in the mountains. And there I was, staring at my phone displaying a disconnected call and my brother's final message on behalf of the whole family. You'll die without money, right? Then do us all a favor and go die. I shut my eyes in despair. Let it go, Emma. You try so hard to live, but fate gives you a choice of death anyway. Without the surgery money, die in the agony of illness. So I might as well end it now. Picking up my phone, I weakly stepped forward. Taking a bus would get me to the seaside. Perfect, just fall into the sea. Let this life have a little less suffering. People at the bus stop had no clue I was about to go and end my life. They boarded and got off, and the bus I waited for never came. I waited a long time, growing anxious when suddenly, I heard someone talking behind the bus sign. I'll pay $1 million to buy your normal human emotions. Deal. I turned around. The speaker was a man in a baseball cap, his face hidden. The person being spoken to was a young girl, wary all over her face. Is this some new scam method? If you don't leave, I'm calling the cops. I'm not scamming. If you agree, I'll transfer the money right away. On any other day, I'd probably just walk away from something so bizarre. But at that moment, something compelled me to move closer. How about you buy mine? I only need $800,000. The girl looked at me like I was crazy, called me a lunatic, and hopped into the car. The guy in the baseball cap just stared at me. He said, "Have you made up your mind? Losing your emotions means losing the ability to love and be loved, losing family and loved ones." I cut him off, I've decided. Baseball cap didn't say much else. All right, give me your bank account number. I did as he asked. And give me something of yours. I looked myself over and finally took a hairband off my wrist. Will this work? Sure, happy doing business. Baseball cap took the hairband and walked away. He vanished from my sight instantly. Standing there, I checked in with myself. Nothing seemed different. I thought it was a prank until my phone beeped. You've received 800,000 yuan in your account. I stared at the screen, feeling like I was dreaming for a few minutes. Then, my phone rang, telling me this wasn't a dream. Emma, where have you been? Why is there a deposit of 800,000 yuan? It was Ryan, my fiance. He used to be the person I trusted and loved most in this world. I even had my bank card linked with his. Lily said she saw me get into some old man's car. I didn't believe her. But if you've got nothing to hide, why is there a deposit of 800,000? Who'd transfer that much money all at once? You need to come to the office and explain this right now. I'm not coming. I cut Ryan off firmly. I have to pay for hospital fees and schedule surgery. Oh, there was silence on the other end for 2 seconds, then anger. Are you serious? Lily told me you used to fake sick in school to skip class. Are you escalating now? Emma, if you keep this up, we're calling off the engagement. Hearing Ryan say that, I should have felt terrified. After all, I loved him so much and wanted to marry him. Ryan used to be my only salvation in this world. We met on the campus forum, back when my parents cut off my living expenses out of anger because of Lily. I had to work at a karaoke place. Then there were nasty posts about me on the forum. Emma works at the karaoke just to be a hostess. Y'all know what that means, right? Keep it on the down low. Supposedly she has a lot of 50, 60-year-old sugar daddies. 50 or 60? That's older than my dad, and she's okay with that? Gross. Honestly, it's typical. She was apparently trafficked to a rural area, wasn't she? Usually they're bought as child brides. And in backward villages, one woman might marry several men. So that explains why she's so easygoing, right? Amid the jeers, only one account stood up for me. Spreading lies is cost-free, huh? Anyone who's been to the karaoke knows Emma's a server. How can someone's painful experiences be a reason to attack her? That was the first time in years someone defended me. I messaged the account, thanking them so much. That's how we started chatting. We talked about the cafeteria food, the wild ducks by Lover's Lake, and Neruda's poetry. I said my signature's that line. On my barren land, you're the last rose. He didn't reply for a long time. When I thought he wouldn't respond, he sent a message. Meet me at Lover's Lake. When I got there, I saw a boy in a white shirt holding a bunch of roses, smiling brightly at me. That day, I finally learned the person I'd been talking to was Ryan, the student council president. Ryan truly made my barren life bloom with roses. He loved me, would listen to my stories late at night and would kiss away my tears. Emma, don't be scared. I'll give you a new home. When did things start to shift? It was probably when I got him his favorite model set and excitedly went to find him. I saw him sitting in a cafe across from Lily. They were having a great time. Lily was bright and cheerful, teasing Ryan into laughter. When they noticed me, their smiles vanished instantly. Lily stood up, looking worried I'd blame her. Sis, I just bumped into Ryan while buying coffee. You're not mad at me, right? Too flustered, she knocked over the coffee on the table. Hot latte spilled on her dress. Lily winced, her eyes welling up, not bothering to wipe it away, just looking pitifully at me. You won't misunderstand me anymore, will you? Ryan asked the assistant to get burn cream for Lily. He didn't once look at me. That night, it was one of my rare breakdowns. I cried and questioned Ryan. You knew she bullied me so many times. Ryan stood on the balcony smoking, his expression blurry in the haze. Emma, maybe you misunderstood her. And the things you told me, they were just your side of it, right? Can you guarantee they're all true? I'll never forget how Ryan squinted at me with doubt in his eyes, that chilling feeling like falling into an ice cellar. He then walked over to hug me. All right, I do believe you. But the coldness inside didn't ease. I knew the world would tilt from now on, just like how my mom said both Lily and I were her daughters, but always sided with Lily. Ryan would say he loved me and believed me, but time and again left me to find Lily. Still, when it came to borrowing money, the first call I made was to Ryan. He was the A Group chairman's son. $800,000 wasn't a big deal for him, but no matter how many messages I sent or calls I made, there was no response. After dialing repeatedly, someone finally answered. On the other end was Lily's gentle laugh. Sis, Ryan's in the shower. If you have something to say, tell me and I'll pass it on. At that moment, it hit me that the 800K really did take away my feelings. I thought about those heart-wrenching memories, but my heart felt nothing. Ryan repeated once more, be in my office by 6 p.m. or the engagement is off. I cut him off. If you won't give me the 800K, how's having you around any different? I sat and hung up. Everything else went smoothly. Paid the fee, got admitted. Luckily, there was an available surgery slot and I got it. I prepped for surgery. No food, no water. My empty stomach felt terrible, so I distracted myself with my phone. Messages kept pouring in from the family group chat. Lily, the group admin, posted an announcement. Tomorrow's my graduation. I hope my most beloved family can be there to witness this big day. Replies from my parents and brother filled the chat. Dad, of course. I even postponed a shareholders meeting for you. Mom. I can't believe my little baby is graduating college. I'm so happy. Brother. Don't worry. I'll be dressed to impress. I won't embarrass you. Lily, I know you guys love me the most. Also, sis, you gotta come. We can't be one short. I typed, I'm not coming, got surgery tomorrow. Lily hadn't replied yet, but someone already blew up. Brother, you kidding? Surgery needs family to sign off. We're all here. What surgery are you talking about? He could have easily searched online to find out a trusted friend could sign with the power of attorney. The girl who was trafficked with me is signing. We stayed friends and she gave me all her savings, which was barely enough. When she heard I saved enough for treatment, she cried, thank God, that's a relief. Without asking where the money came from, Lily sent a voice message, slightly crying, Sis, are you still mad about last year? I had almost forgotten until she brought it up. When I graduated last year, I invited everyone to the ceremony too, but on the way there, Lily felt sick, and our parents turned the car to the hospital. Emma, cease. I shouldn't have gotten sick then. Can you forgive me this time? Mom chimed in. Emma, I was heartbroken to miss your ceremony last year. Don't blame Lily. Please promise Mom. Come home and happily go with Lily to the school. All right? No, Dad was furious. Your mom begged you and you're still cold-hearted thing. I wish you weren't my child. Brother tried hitting me where it hurts. No wonder Ryan asked privately what you're like. See, Emma? Anyone would get sick of you. A nurse tapped the door. Time to sleep. No more playing. I pleaded for just one more minute. Fewer messages with 55 seconds left. Brother DM'd. Mad, I left the group. I blocked him. 40 seconds left. Block the whole family. 10 seconds left, Ryan called. Hung up quick and powered off. Handing my phone to the nurse, I joked, "See, just a minute." The surgery was a success. I was recovering quickly. A friend asked, "Got any plans?" Oh, I did. I used to work at a group. Now that I've ended it with Ryan, staying there isn't a good idea. Before my next big job, I'll work part-time at a familiar KTV for some cash. I got discharged from the hospital. That evening, the breeze was gentle and cool, quite nice. I took a few steps and saw two figures. My brother Michael and ex-boyfriend Ryan smoking out there. Ryan seemed anxious, and Michael looked agitated. Suddenly, Michael saw me and approached briskly. "Finally showed up? Do you know how long we've been looking for you?" Lily fainted from crying. She didn't even finish her ceremony. All she did was search for me. They said I disappeared for a week. Really? They could have found me if they tried. I told them I needed surgery. Just check the hospitals, easy to find me. But they must have assumed I was lying about the surgery and didn't even try. Michael squinted at me like something clicked. "Are you pretending to bump into us at the hospital because Ryan posted his location on Twitter?" I stared at him. Michael smirked. "Gotcha. Your little trick, Michael," I said calmly, pointing back to the hospital. "Get checked for brain issues. Even if it's untreatable, a doctor should at least see you." Then I left, ignoring his angry shouts. Just as I turned to go, someone grabbed my wrist. Ryan's voice, slightly hoarse. "Emma, are you really sick?" I turned back with a sarcastic grin. "All better now. No need to worry." Pulling my hand free, I walked away. Ryan seemed like he wanted to catch up with me. But my brother stopped him right away. "Don't try to comfort her. The more you comfort her, the worse it gets. Look at her. Even if she's sick, it's definitely not anything serious. When she was a kid, she'd cry all day over a scraped knee. If she really just had surgery, she wouldn't be this calm." Ryan stood there looking pretty lost. He seemed to mumble something, calling Emma. His words were swept away by the wind. I didn't turn back even once. The KTV owner already knew me well. He knew I just had surgery, so he let me do the lightest work and even agreed to pay me daily. When my shift ended, I took off my uniform and walked out, only to see something crazy playing out in the hallway. A guy wearing a fancy shirt was shouting, "Come on, someone kiss me and I'll give you this ring." His assistant was sweating, trying to pull him back. "Jason, you're really drunk. Drunk words are still words. Come on, you over there, kiss me and this is yours." The guy called Jason pointed at me, and the ring slipped out of his hand, rolling onto the floor. The assistant kept apologizing. "I'm so sorry, miss. Jason isn't usually like this. He didn't mean to offend you." I guess even normal people's emotions can be overruled by a paycheck, especially when it's $80,000. Long story short, I wasn't offended. Instead, I stared at that huge diamond ring on the floor and thought, is this really happening? Such a big rock. Even if I sell it for cheap, it'd cover years of working at KTV. Must be the universe feeling sorry for my tough past, giving me a break. Without a second thought, I walked up and gave Jason a peck on the cheek. Maybe it was just my imagination, but it looked like Jason's ears turned red. Picking up the ring, I said, "A deal's a deal. This is mine now." That night, I slept soundly in my rented room. My brother and Ryan were bombarding me with messages in all sorts of ways. Given how rushed I was before, I only managed to block them on Instagram. Now I had some time to go full detective mode, blocking them everywhere from Instagram to school forums to music apps. The next morning, I was rudely awakened by someone banging on my door. My first thought was that my brother and Ryan had tracked me down, but standing outside was Jason. I didn't bother opening the door and said, "What do you want?" The famous Jason, wearing an expensive suit, stood awkwardly in the dusty hallway. "Is this Emma?" "Nope," I flat out denied. "Jason, you're trying to make a fool out of me?" The door opposite flew open, and out came an elderly lady. "What's with all the noise so early? Waking my grandson. Keep at it and I'll call the cops." Facing the old lady, Jason suddenly lost his cool. "I'm really sorry to disturb you, ma'am. I'm just trying to get something back." The old lady eyed Jason up and down, shaking her head, clicking her tongue in disapproval. It was clear as day she thought guys who ask for their stuff back after a breakup are the lowest of the low. Adding to her judgmental vibe, I shouted from behind my door, You can't just ask for a ring back that you gave away. Yesterday you gave it, today you want it back? Seriously? Seeing the old lady about to unleash another level of disdain, Jason panicked. I'm not asking you to return it. I'm here to ask if you'd marry me. In my cramped living room, I poured Jason a cup of instant coffee. His long legs barely fit on my $10 lazy chair, looking all kinds of uncomfortable. His expression was just as awkward, stealing awkward glances at the door every now and then. The lady across the hall was peeking in, clearly eager for juicy gossip to spice up her day. With the atmosphere getting increasingly tense, I said understandingly, "Ma'am, I think you're making him nervous. How about you head back? I'll update you as soon as I have something." Satisfied, the lady finally took her grandson downstairs. I turned to Jason. "Go ahead." Jason's expression turned sour. The last 24 hours had been a nightmare he wanted to forget. Long story short, Jason originally had a fiance, a match made by his family. Turns out the rich girl heard some wild stories about Jason being a bad guy and bolted. Jason had never been humiliated like this in his life. So he got drunk, which led to that scene at the KTV. "So now you want to marry me?" I asked. Jason nodded, then hastily backtracked. "Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm into you, it's just that the marriage announcement has already been circulated. And if—" I stopped his rambling right there. "How much are you offering?" Jason was taken aback, probably not expecting this direction at all. "Name your price?" I shook my head. In negotiations, whoever names a price first usually loses. "How about this?" I offered. "Show me your black card's balance." My tone was polite and firm, leaving no room for discussion. Jason, feeling bewildered, complied and showed me his mobile banking. Geez, even someone like me who rarely shows emotion couldn't help but gasp after counting all those zeros. Staring at Jason, I said calmly, "Here's the deal. You give me 80% of your card's balance and I'll marry you." Before Jason could respond, I explained earnestly, "This is honestly in your best interest. Marriage is a big deal. If the payout's too low, it's bad luck. The last thing you want is to give people gossip fodder, hurt your image, or impact your share prices. Of course, you could find another girl, but during the wedding, who's to say someone greedy like me won't come crashing with the ring and claim to be your real fiancé?" Sure, it'd be shameless on my part, but a wise man avoids unnecessary risk. You care about your reputation, so why let some lowlife threaten it, right? Once the call ended, I barely took a breath and looked at Jason sincerely. "Jason, you're something else." When I walked downstairs to see my sponsor off, I was all smiles. "See you later, hubby." His face darkened. "Don't call me that." "Sure thing, sweetheart." Jason looked like he had a toothache that wouldn't go away. "Emma, I'm warning you, we're only married on paper. Don't get all clingy, and definitely don't fall for me." I smiled the same way. "Don't worry." Not a chance I could, even if I tried. Jason thought I was mocking him, his face twisted with anger, but before he could argue, a familiar figure appeared in the distance. It was Ryan. I'd never seen Ryan look so upset. He approached, eyes on the ring on my finger. His voice trembled a bit. "What's this?" Jason, irritated as hell, said, "A wedding ring? Are you blind?" Ryan ignored Jason, his gaze fixed on me like he was about to break. "Who's it from?" "Jason." "Buddy, are you confused?" "Who else but me?" "Emma." Ryan's eyes were red. "We definitely didn't break up." This time, Jason stayed quiet. He stepped aside, standing next to an old lady who looked like she was waiting for a show. All three of them shared that classic nosy expression. Me? Too tired to argue, I pulled out a phone recording. It was our last call before my surgery. "Before 6 p.m. at my office, or the engagement is off." "Forget the engagement. Just break up now. What's it to me if I never get that 800,000? Pause. I looked at Ryan. "Did you hear that? We're broken up." His voice cracked. "I didn't agree." I coldly replied, "It takes two to agree to be together. Only one to decide to break up. I made that decision and told you clearly. Any questions?" Ryan stared at me, a breeze causing tears to form in his eyes. He moved forward, trying to hug me. "Emma, stop messing around. I know you're mad about Lily, but it's not what you think. I got drunk that day. Lily took me to a hotel, answered your call while I was showering. We didn't do anything. I only love you. If it bothers you, I'll cut her off. Okay? I glanced past Ryan to look behind him. Noticing my glance, Ryan turned around. Standing about 10 paces behind him was my entire family. Ryan's words went straight to Lily's ears, and she looked pale, swaying slightly. Ryan, Michael walked over, stood beside Ryan. Don't sweet talk her here. Believe me, our family won't let you two break up. And with her temper, you know she's just acting up, not really wanting to split. Let's go, let's head back. She'll come home. Michael reached for Ryan. Ryan stubbornly stretched out his hand. Emma, come back with me. This time, before I could speak, someone stepped in. Jason slapped Ryan's hand away. She's my fiance. Why would she go with you? Ryan looked icy, glaring at Jason. She wouldn't agree to be your fiance. Jason got rebellious. She agreed whether she likes it or not. After all, I paid for it. Ryan was stunned. He turned to me, disbelief on his face. Is that 800,000 from him? I knew things were spiraling out of control, but at this point, explaining would be tough. I simply looked to the sky. Ryan looked at me, eyes reddening. Emma, why? I desperately hoped you weren't like this. And for 800,000... Before he could finish, I slapped him. That slap shocked my entire family, even Jason. I coldly said, if 800,000 is so insignificant, why didn't you give it to me? Lily rushed forward. She held the slapped Ryan, her face full of hurt. Ryan, are you okay? I have meds in my bag. I'll apply it for you. Ryan pushed her away. Lily was taken aback. Dad stepped forward, whispered, Ryan, don't blame Emma. She really needed surgery money. Turns out Dad finally asked on our way here. An easy phone call could have confirmed it, but he wouldn't back then. Mom's eyes were wet. My poor daughter having surgery alone. She paused midway because everyone knew why I faced surgery solo. Seeing Mom and Dad's guilty glances, Lily got nervous. She stepped up to me, neck stiff. Sis, no matter what, you shouldn't have hit Ryan. Do you realize how worried he was while you were unreachable? How much our family worried? Another slap landed on her face. I asked sweetly, still worried now? Lily covered her face, a flash of malice in her eyes. She suddenly slapped her own face fiercely. I know you blame me, sis. Will this make you feel better? It's my fault. Had I known, I would have bled and begged to gather the money for you. Each self-inflicted slap left a red mark on her fair, delicate face. I was about to keep coaxing my family, but at that moment they turned to Lily again. Mom gasped and grabbed Lily. Lily, what are you doing? This can't be your fault. Dad snapped, Emma, don't be too much. Lily's brother, the one who always cared the most for her, rushed over directly. Emma, are you crazy? Even if you're really sick, so what? Does being sick make you right? Besides, you're just standing here all fine, aren't you? Didn't see you actually going and dying or anything. Come on, Lily, we're going home. Don't mind her. Let her really cut ties with the family if she's got the guts. Her brother shielded Lily and left with her. Mom and Dad followed suit. None of them noticed Lily looked back and gave me a smile. She seemed to think she won again. Maybe this victory felt especially hard-earned. Lily forgets Ryan hasn't left yet. He stood in the corner watching Lily smile. Ryan came over, still acting like he couldn't see Jason, just staring at me. Emma, I know what you want most. I'll help you. Wait till the day I'm successful and then forgive me. Ryan walked away slowly. I didn't want to look at him anymore. I turned to leave but found Jason standing next to me, looking at me unblinking. I raised an eyebrow. What are you staring at? Jason, you're quite pitiful, huh? I instantly pinched my voice. What's the matter? Seeing me all pathetic yet strong, like some unyielding little white flower? You've fallen for me? Jason was so grossed out he flounced off. On his way out, he even remembered to call his secretary over and pointed at me. Get this one assigned to the marketing department. Let her go and anger our competitors to death. Wow, got a job too. So, just like that, I started working in Jason's group's marketing department while preparing for marriage with Jason. Things were going smoothly, but as time passed, Jason found more ways to annoy me. He drifted over to me. By the way, these wedding dresses were originally made for my ex-fiancé. I wasn't really paying attention. No worries, just alter them a bit, they'll fit. I have 18 ex-girlfriends. They might crash the wedding. No problem, they come. Their sisters will make sure everyone eats and drinks well. I wasn't getting angry, and in the end, he got angry. He slammed the door and walked off with a wave of his sleeve. The assistant sighed. Miss Emma, maybe you should at least pretend to be a little jealous. I thought about it. Jealousy? That'll cost extra. While I was busy handling various affairs, something happened in Emma's family. The reason was Ryan. He set aside his company's business and focused on investigating what happened years ago. The truth he uncovered was shocking. I was trafficked, and Lily taken in was no coincidence. My parents met Lily at the orphanage. That little girl wore a light green dress and held a bunny plushie. Both things were my favorites. Not to mention, she could sing all the songs I knew. She liked the same cartoons as me, even liked the same characters. My parents thought it was fate, that God took pity on them and rebirthed me into this little girl at the orphanage. So they took her home and named her Lily. Year after year, they raised her, transferring all the love meant for me to her. They had no idea this was all a setup. Lily was the illegitimate daughter of the first caretaker who took care of me. The caretaker, while looking after me, had her daughter mimic me. Then, on the appointed day, I was kidnapped by traffickers, vanishing from the world. Her daughter got picked up at the orphanage and became me. When I left Jason's, I saw Emma's family and Ryan. My parents seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. My brother went straight to his knees before me. He cried, Emma, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Lily's true identity made them realize how many lies were told over the years. Falling down the stairs, catching a fever, before a competition, slapping herself. All these because I happened to be found, forcing her to secure her place this way. Mom cried so painfully, grabbing my hand, saying, how was I so blind for so many years, letting my own daughter suffer so much? Emma, forgive Dad, Mom, and your brother, okay? We'll definitely love you well while we still have a chance. I sighed softly. Let's go home first. Emma's family was relieved. They thought me suggesting to go home meant I was softening a bit. In the living room, they surrounded me, trying to please by asking if I'd eat this or drink that. Lily was already kicked out, and to avoid me getting upset by past memories, my brother even threw out all Lily's stuff. But he forgot one thing. That was the mirror in the living room. For over a decade, that mirror reflected both me and Lily. It reflected the warm golden light of the living room, the color of home in my heart. Yet that light only shone on the four of them. I stood on the outside in the shadows, unable to enter. I suddenly grabbed a cup and flung it at the mirror. At the sound of the massive shatter and my family's screams, I laughed. Turns out it was so fragile all along. The shattered mirror had a massive crack, separating me from my family like a chasm. I turned around, looking at my brother. Didn't you say if I had the courage, I'd cut ties with the family? His face went deathly pale instantly. He looked at me, his lips quivering wildly. As I walked out of the house, among my dad's eyes suddenly reddened and my mom sobbed. From now on, you all have nothing to do with me anymore. Later, I met Lily again. She was getting beaten by a middle-aged woman who was pulling her hair, abusing her with vile words, leaving slaps on her face. After the woman left, Lily sat there in defeat. I hesitated for a moment, planning to leave, but Lily suddenly spoke. Emma. I stopped in my tracks. Lily looked up at me. Her hair was a mess with blood on her face, and she gave me a crazy smile. Did you see? That was my mom. I really hate you. How come you were born into such a good family while I have to pretend to be you to get everything you have? I hate green. I hate singing. I hate ballet. I hate everything you like. But I have to pretend to be you to get a little bit of love. She started sobbing. I crouched down, patted her shoulder. You don't have to try so hard to act anymore. No matter how you act, you won't get love anyway. As I turned to leave, Lily broke down, screaming behind me. What are you so smug about? Do you really think they love you? This time, I didn't stop walking. Linda was waiting for me ahead. She was my bridesmaid and the girl that was kidnapped with me. She took my arm, transmitting the warmth of her palm to me. I knew she was definitely thinking about our past days. On those freezing nights in the mountain village, I held Linda's hand. Don't give up. Our families are definitely looking for us, she sniffled. But what if they never find us? I looked out at the night. Then we still have to live well. This world always has other wonders. The day Jason and I had our wedding, Ryan drank all night. He's been drinking more and more heavily and was taken away by an ambulance multiple times. His disappointment turned to resentment, and he started targeting Michael. My dad's company went bankrupt because of it. Mom cried every day. My brother got into a car accident while trying to borrow money and would have to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. When Jason told me all this, I didn't show much emotion. After breaking away from the past, none of it mattered to me anymore. Emma, Jason was calling me. I snapped back. What's up, honey? I said. The client I'm meeting today is a real beauty, and if I'm out too late, I won't come home. I said, okay. He got angry. Okay? I quickly remembered that Jason had transferred half of the company shares to me last month. I should start showing jealousy. So I turned my face away, heartbrokenly saying, if I say not okay, will you not go? Jason was happy, saying, if I say not okay, will you not go? He hugged me and assured, this meeting is necessary, but I'll be home by 8. He started checking in. From the dinner table, he even sent me a selfie. Look, the beauty. But it was actually my 60-year-old aunt Irapia. I own. After putting away my phone, I left the office. A couple stood at the street corner, holding 2 freshly bought milk teas. It seemed like an ordinary scene, yet I found myself staring at them. For some reason, it felt familiar. The guy in the couple then walked straight toward me. Hello, Emma, I asked. And you are? He put on a baseball cap. I recognized him immediately. I glanced at his girlfriend beside him. Isn't that the girl he was questioning back then? Well, it turns out she's an accomplice. I got furious. Fraud. You guys are scammers. The guy with the baseball cap waved his hand and handed me a business card. It said Ken. Ken smoothly said to me, how is this fraud? I paid for it, and I'm not. So what are you looking for me for now? I have no emotions left for you to buy. This time, I'm selling, not buying. Ken coaxed, since you're having a happy life now, shouldn't you consider buying back your feelings as a normal person? People shouldn't, or at least shouldn't be, so mercenary. I cursed him a million times in my head, but I couldn't help saying, name your price. Let me hear it. After all, I don't lack money now. 80,000 was like buying a purse for me. 800,000. How much I was furious. You don't need it, so let it be. Ken turned away. Don't be like that. The girl held Ken back. Emma has come a long way. I think 500,000 is plenty. No way. Listen to me. The girl looked at me. Miss Emma, we're meant to have fate. How about this? I'll give you a 20% discount plus lifetime storage service for free. You can store your emotions here temporarily and retrieve them whenever you need. If you face another painful event and want to store them again, feel free to contact us. She handed me a card with Lily printed on it. Seems like such a deal. Too troublesome not selling. Ken tugged at Lily. Let's go. As they fussed, I shouted, 300,000, not a penny more. Lily pushed Ken. Deal. I was in a great mood on the way home. I didn't forget to share with Jason. I just went shopping. Guess what? I managed to haggle from 800,000 down to 300,000. Jason said. Awesome, honey. What's the cost price of that thing? I came to a sudden stop. Darn it. Got scammed again?